Okay, so the question of May 2017, question 3B, it says that Green Furniture Limited manufactures 2 models of plastic chairs, C1 and C2, from plastic waste using 2 automated machines, X and Y. The following information relates to the production of the 2 models of chairs for the coming year. We have maximum units, selling price, machine time in hours, X, Y. The maximum operating hours of machine X and Y are at 438.40 respectively. The maximum quantity of plastic waste available is at 4,000 kilos, and each chair requires 4 kilos of plastic waste. The company purchases plastic waste at shillings 50 per kilogram. Variable machine overheads are estimated at 250 and 300 per machine hour for machines X and Y respectively. All chairs produced are expected to be sold during the period. Computer-generated printout of the linear programming is given below. Now you are required to formulate the model. So when you are dealing with linear programming, I want us to solve the question using Simplex method. Using Simplex method, I have always told you the very first thing is to know the objective. So the objective here is to maximize profits. And we know when we are in linear programming, profit is revenue minus variable costs. Revenue minus variable costs. Step number 2 is to know the variables. The variables are the products that are being produced in the program. Now, in this question, the variables are product C1 and C2. So we have product C1, and then we also have product C2. Step number 3 is to know the constraints. The constraints are the scarce resources whose maximum quantities have been mentioned. So the first one that has been mentioned is machine X hours. We have machine X hours. We have machine Y hours. Then we have the plastic waste. Plastic waste. There are just 3 of them. The next thing is formulation. Formulation, you say let C1 to be units of products C1 produced and sold. C2 to be units of products C2 produced and sold. Produced and sold. Now, the next thing that we require to do is to get to the contribution margin. The contribution margin for C1. You can see C1 is being sold at 1,000. That is the selling price. So you minus, according to this question, the machine hours for X is 0.5 And the overhead absorption rate in machine X, it is 250 minus 0.4 in machine Y, and the OAR is 300 minus there is the 4 kilos of waste times 50. So when you take your calc, that gives us a value of what? How much? Huh? 555. We go to contribution margin of C2. Contribution margin of C2 is 900 minus 0.3 times 250 minus 0.45 times 300 minus 4 times 50. Minus 4 times 50. $625. I don't think so. 490. Yes, it's 490. 490. Then objective function. Objective function is to maximize Z, which will be 555 C1 plus 490 C2. That is the objective function. Now this is subject to 0.5 C1 plus 0.3 C2 is less than or equal to machine X hours. They are 3,400. 3,400. This is machine X hours. Machine X hours. Then 0.4 C1 plus 0.45 C2. This is 3840. And this is machine Y hour. Then 4C1 plus 4C2 is less than or equal to, the waste we are told is that 4,000. So this is plastic waste. Plastic waste. Then C1, C2 should be greater than or equal to 0. This is non-negativity. non-negativity.
Plastic waste is 34.
That is the typo in that paper. The original is that 4,000. Okay, so with that now, that was the step of formulation. The next step is changing inequalities. Changing inequalities to equalities or to equations. Changing inequalities to equations. So we said, depending on how many equations you have here, you introduce corresponding number of S's. So you say let S1 to be the slack variable for machine X hours. S2 to be the slack variable for machine Y hours. S3 to be slack variable for plastic waste. For plastic waste. Then objective function. Objective function. Objective function. It is to maximize Z, which is equals to 345 C1 plus 490 C2. Now I told you these S's come in to the objective function, but with zero values. So we are going to say plus 0 S1 plus 0 S2 plus 0 S3. So they come in, but with zero values. Now subject to 0.5 C1 plus 0.3 C2 plus S1 is equal to that 400. 0.4 C1 plus 0.45 C2 plus S2 is that 840. 4 C1 plus 4 C2 plus S3 is equal to that 4,000. Obviously now here C1, C2, S1, S2, S3 should be greater than or equal to 0. Should be greater than or equal to 0. So with this now, you prepare initial simplex table. And for the interest of time, we shall not draw lines. I will not give you time to draw lines. So because your books are well ruled, just space. So initial simplex table. Initial simplex table. We start drawing lines, we may not finish. So just hang the cards here on Zoom. So initial simplex table, I told you we have a column called C. We have another one called basis. Then I told you those two will always be there. But these now are the ones that forms the next or the other columns, depending on the question. So we have C1, we have C2, we have S1, we have S2, we have S3, and then we have BI. And maybe later on, we may require a space for ratio. We may require a space for ratio. Just space visually. You don't have time to draw those lines. So the first thing is to bring this S1. S1, that's the first item that comes in. And when it comes in, you come back here where there is S1. You pick these coefficients. So this is 0.5. This is 0.3. This is 1. This is 0. This is 0. And this is that 400. So you pick those coefficients. We now bring S2. We bring S2. Now S2, you again come back here where there is S2. You pick the coefficients. So the coefficients are 0.4, 0.45. Now this is 0, this is 1, this is 0, and that 840. We now bring S3. S3, it is the coefficients are 4. We have 4, we have 0, 0, 1, and that 4,000. Then here, this C, I told you they are the contribution margins of the basis items. So S1 has 0, S2 has 0, S3 has 0. The contribution margins as they appear here. The next row that we bring, we say it is called CJ. Now CJ, you copy the coefficients of the objective function. The coefficients of the objective function. So this will be 555, this will be 490, and the others are zeros. And the others are zeros. Then you bring ZJ. And ZJ in the initial table, it is always zeros. For now, let me not get into those. Just take it that. Then the last row is called DJ. And DJ, we said it is CJ minus ZJ. So in the initial table, it is 355, 490, 0, 0, 0, 0. That is the initial table. When you have the initial table, you check now whether it is optimal. And the table is optimal if all the DJs here, they are either zeros or they are negatives. But now you can see here, we have some positives. So it's not optimal. So if it is not optimal, you pick the highest DJ. So the highest DJ is this one. That's the highest. And this highest, where you have found it, this column is called key column. This one is called, and I think I need to just confine you to how you should handle. In the exam, you don't need to keep on writing these things. So I don't think I need to write it. No. Yeah, let me just be very specific. So that is called key column. Then, but I will just mention already so that you remember. Then the item which is in the title of that item is called the incoming variable. Once you have known the key column, you now proceed to compute the ratios. And the ratios are obtained by dividing the BI values using the values in the key column. So take your calculator and tell me that 400 divided by 0.5. That 400 divided by 0.5. 6,800. So that is our ratio. Then tell me that 840 divided by 0.4. That 840 divided by 0.4. 9,600. The last one is 34,000 divided by 4. The 500. So once the ratios are obtained, you pick the smallest. We say you pick the smallest. So the smallest of those ratios is this. The smallest of those ratios is that. So with that, you can now create the second table. You can now create the second table. So let's come here and seek to create the second simplex table. Second simplex table. I told you the columns will always remain. The titles of the columns as you designed at the beginning. So see there, then we have basis, then we have C1, we have C2, we have S1, we have S2, we have S3, we have BI, and then ratio. BI and ratio. We are okay up to that point, yeah? Now, you go back to the previous table. You identify the key element. The key element is the element at the intersection of the key column and the key row. So where they meet, this is the key element. You can even circle. where this row, the key element, where we have the highest DJ and where we have the lowest ratio, where they meet, that is the key element. So what you do with the key element, you divide all these other values there using the key element as you record them in the corresponding row here. But even before you record, it is good you design this column here. And what happens, as you know, this one we already have said is called the incoming. The one that is here is called the outgoing. So what will happen, this S1 will be replaced by C1. So here we are going to have C1. We are going to have C1. We are going to have C1 there. Is that okay? How we have now deleted this. So the next thing, to get the values here, you now divide all these values by 0.5. So let's start. 0.5 divided by 0.5, 1. So you record it here. 0.3 divided by 0.5. 0.6. 1 divided by 0.5. 2. 0 divided by 0.5. 0. The same key is 0 here, and this one is 6800. Eh? The other rows that we are supposed to have, they are now S2, S3, then we'll have CJ, ZJ, and DJ. And DJ. So we will take this one, this row S2, and this one is called odd row value. So we are going to say odd row S2 value, odd row S2 value minus new row value times balancing figure, it will give us new row S2, this one here, tunatafsiria. So the balance, rather to start off, you copy the values in the old row S2, these ones. You copy them here. So let's start 0.4, 0.45, zikifuatana 0, 1, 0, and 38, 40. Copy them that way as they follow each other. Now let's say minus the new row values. New row are these ones that we have recorded here. So let's bring them 1, 0.6, 2, 0, 0, and 6800 times the balancing figure. So the balancing figure is what you have here at the intersection of the key column and the row that you are dealing with. This one. That is the balancing figure, 0.4. So take the calc and start giving me the answers. And I told you, you just key them in the way the equation is. So 0.4 minus 1 times 0.4, the answer is what? 0. 0.45 minus 0.6 times 0.4, 0.21. 0 minus 2 times 0.4 is minus 0.8. 1 minus 0 times 0.4 is 0.1. 0 minus 0 times 0.4. And that 840 minus 800 times 0.4. 1120. So you run and record those values here. This is 0. This is 0.21. This is 0.8. This is 1. This is 0. This is 1120. Then we do the same for odd row 3. Odd row 3. Now the values are 4, 4, 0, 0, 1, 34,000. Look here. When you will come now to odd row 3, the balancing figure now will be what? Will be 4. So the balancing figure here will be 4. So I'd like you to compute the values. Obviously now we are looking for old row or rather new row S3. Get those values quickly.
Is 2.
Minus 3 plus 10 minus.
Unasema nini?
Minus 3 minus 3.
Kwa hiyo
The same thing.
sasa
Yes, 3. Yes. Then you do S1 times minus S1. Okay? Minus S1. C1 then you do minus C1 times the old row of old S3. So it's still C1. Yeah.
unapata kitu kama negative 23,000. Negative 23,800. Unapata kitu kama in that 4,000. See, I'm doing that card. Okay.
Nadru? Nisome the first value here. 0, 1.6, negative 8, negative 4, 1, 6,800. Okay, so if we are okay with that, we bring in here the contribution C1. The contribution is 345. S2 is 0, S3 is 0. Then CJ, these ones I told you they remain 345 for 90, 0, 0, 0, 0. So CJ remains. Then the working for ZJs. Now, because this one we can just do it orally or in a very straightforward way. We are supposed to take these values here, we multiply by this as we are there. And because you can see these ones are zeros. So any number multiplied by 0 will go to 0. So these ones, when we multiply all of them, they will go to 0. So we are just left with this one. So to a calculator and give me the figure. 345 times 1 is 345. Record it here. Look at the second one. 345 multiplied by this. 333. It's the same concept. Then this 345 multiplied by 2. 1110. 345 multiplied by 0. 0. 345 multiplied by 0. 0. And then 345 multiplied by 6,800. 774 zeros. Remember, we have I've said we have omitted these ones because when we multiply with zeros, it goes to 0. DJ, we have said it is CJ minus ZJ. So 555 minus 555 is what? 0. 490 minus 343 is what? 157. 0 minus 11 is minus 11, 10. This is 0, this is 0, and this is minus 3,774,000. So the table is full. Now we need to check whether it is optimal. The table is optimal if all the DJs are either 0 or negatives. So do we have some positives? Yes. So if yes, that table is not optimal. So if the table is not optimal, we repeat what we have done there. And the first thing is to pick the highest DJ. So the highest DJ is what? 157. It's 157. Then after you do that, you need to compute the ratios. And the ratio, we have said what you do, you take the values in the key column, these ones, you use them to divide these 3 values in the PI. So take the calc and tell me 6,800 divided by 0.6. 6,800 divided by 0.6. 11,333.3. 1120 divided by 0.21. 1,333. Then 6,800 divided by 1.6. 4250. So I have said once you get the ratios, you pick the smallest. So the smallest of those is 4250. So in doing that, you need now to draw the third Simplex table. Third Simplex table. When drawing that Simplex table, I've been telling you the columns do not change. So we are going to have column C, followed by column basis, followed by C1, followed by C2, followed by S1, followed by S2, followed by S3, and then we have BI. Then we have BI. So I told you this value that is found in the key column, this one, it is the incoming. While this one in the key row is the outgoing. So S3 will go and will be replaced by C2. So here, C1 remains here, S2 remains, but now instead of S3, we will have C2 coming in. We will have C2 coming in, then we will have our CJ, we will have our ZJ, and we will have our DJ. So that is the frame. S3 is the outgoing, so that's why it has gone. It has been replaced by C2. So after that, now I've told you what you do. The value at the intersection of the key row and the key column, where they meet, this one, that's called the key element. So this key element, you use it to divide all the other values in that row. So let's start. 0 divided by 1.6. 0. You record it here. I have 1.6 divided by 1.6. 1. Minus 8 divided by 1.6. Minus 5. Minus 4 divided by 1.6.
Minus 2.
Minus 2.5. 1 divided by 1.6. Six to 5. And this other one, we already have gotten it as 42, 50. So let's go to, now that we know these things, we can just write workings. I'm saying these things, we know them. So I take our workings. In any case, the formula is just up there in the other paper. Yeah. So we are now looking for these values. And we know we always get the odd row value, which is this one. So 1 minus the new row. The new row is this one. Times the balancing figure. The balancing figure is the value in the key column and the row that you are dealing with, this one. So 0.6. So put that figure in the calc, give you the answer.
1. Alafu nakimbia hapa andika 1. Very simple things. Haya, kuja kwa huyu sasa. Old row is 0.6 minus new row iko na 1 times balancing figure is 0.6. Zero. So unakimbia hapa unaandika 0. We now go to 2 minus the corresponding value here. It is minus 5. So minus 5 times the balancing figure, which we know is 0.6. Five. So you rush here and record 5. Now we are here in this 0. Minus the corresponding here is minus 2.5 times 0.6. 1.5. So you rush here and record 1.5. Now we are in this second 0 minus the corresponding value here is 0.625 times 0.6. Minus 0.375. So you rush here and record minus 0.375. Then we are now here, 6,800. Minus the corresponding value here is 4,250. Multiplied by the balancing of 0.6. For 250. So you run here and record 4250. That one is okay. We are moving on. Now we want to record these ones. So in recording these ones, you go to the corresponding old row here. So we find we have 0 minus the new row. The corresponding here is 0. Times the balancing. The balancing is the value in that row and the key column, this one. 0.21. So the answer is 0. Yeah. So we have 0 here. The next one is 0.21 minus 0.21. No. The corresponding here is 1. The corresponding is 1. In the new row, 1. but times the balancing figure 0.21. That is still 0. That's all. Yeah. Then we proceed. The next one is 0.8 minus the corresponding is minus 5. Multiply by 0.21. $1.85. So you rush here and record 1.85. The next one is 1 minus the corresponding is minus 2.5. And the balancing is 0.21. $1.52. 1.525. 1.525. The next one is 0 minus 0.625 times 0.21. One, 13125. Okay, so minus 0.13125. The last one is 1120 minus the corresponding is 4250. Multiplied by 0.21. 227.5. $227.5. The next thing is we should now record the contribution margins here in the column C. So for C1, the contribution margin is 345. S2, it is 0. C2 is 490. Those are the corresponding contribution margins. CJ, we say that one does not change. So it remains 345, 490, 0, 0, 0, 0. So we start now getting to the Z. So Z1. Z1 will be 345 times 1. plus 0 times 0 plus 490 times 0. Because tumesema it is these values in the in column C, we multiply with these values. So the answer there is 5. That's all. We go to Z2. And because this one has 0, I'm going to omit that because they will go back to 0. So that I say it is 345 times 0 plus 490 times 1. And the answer is 490. I hope you have gotten why I'm avoiding this. It's because it is 0. Higher. We go to Z3. Z3 will be 345 times 5 plus 490 times minus 5. $325. We go to Z4. Z4 is 345 times 1.5 plus 490 times minus 2.5. Should not be a minus. Come on, minus, that's 1. That should be minus. So this is almost 900. Minus 392.5. I hope this value was well calculated. This and this. Because nimeona sasa kihitaji adhabu. Haya, let the pass if it was okay. Z5. Z5 is 345 times minus 0.0375 plus 490 times 0.625. $98.125. The last one, Z6, should be 555 times 4250 plus 490 times 4250. Mm-hmm. 250. 4,441,250. So that's 1.5, where we got it. We got it right. That's okay. Minus 2.5. Should be the family. I'm getting 0.475. That's where we got this value. But you are saying 6,800 minus 4,250 should be 1530. You go happy. It is the third value. Betty, I don't know where you are getting that one from. At least, I think you are wrong. Betty, your computation should not be 15 that. This one is okay. So she's talking of this one. I think it's this one. The one that was 6,800 minus 4,250 times 0.6. So the compute better without decimals. So I'm saying this one. Have we rectified, or it is okay? Or is the one that we were dividing? Okay. And that minus 4, where we had gotten it, was it right? It was not. This is 0 minus 0 times 4. Is that so? This 2.5 We got it when we said minus 4 divided by 1.6. That's how we got minus. So this one, minus 2.5, is confirmed that it is okay according to this one. So, to end the man, tulipata minus 4. Minus 4, tumeona we got it where we had said 0. Minus 0 times 4. We wrote as minus 4. But we should have written what? 0. So if we had written 0, then this one would have become 0, and this one would also have become what? 0. So when I come now here to my workings, so rectify so that this becomes 0. And when that becomes 0, I must come back here and now say this is 0. So give me the new figure. Oh, that's the one I left you to complete on your own, which I'm going to submit the figures. So we have what? 8.2.5. Yes. Otherwise, without that, it would have required the third table. And you see, in your case, in the exam, me, I'm already enjoying the advantage that I already know that's not how it should be. But for you, if you're not keen, so now let's get to DJ. DJ is CJ minus ZJ. So this is 0. This is 0. This is minus 325. This is minus 8.2.5. This is minus 98.125. And this is minus 441,250. 441,250. So is our table optimal? Yes. So when it is optimal, you rush back here and baptize it again. You call it final Simplex table. Final Simplex table. So solution. We had two products, C1 and C2. So C1, you come here in the basis column, you rush huko mwisho, check it has how many units? 4250. 4250 units. C2, you rush mpaka huko mwisho, you find it also has 4250 units. And maximum profit. Maximum profit, I told you, it is this value that is here at the end. 441,250. So that is how Simplex is simple. Now, when this question was solved using linear programming, using computers, what you can see here is the output. But now your syllabus did not allow you to be taught how to interpret it. So that's why we never went to that. But at least you can see, can you see the objective function value, the 444,150? Naiona? Yes. Then ukiangalia hapo kwa C1, hiyo imeandikwa variable C1. Can you see the value for 4250, 4250? Yes.
Aya, hizo zingine wachana nazo hizo hujui. But at least you can see the objective coefficient 55 for 90. Yes. Then ukiteremuka huku chini, which one now can you see? You can see 227, this one? Yeah. The others are not there. So those others are some, we call them sensitivity analysis. They used to be very good when we were teaching these things, but now we become your syllabus has denied you those. Yeah. So don't bother whatever else is that question. Yeah, for your syllabus, you are already supposed to come to that point. But there is a lot that we need to do or can be done or used to do in the old syllabus about that. So we call it a day and a semester at a juncture. I will take this opportunity to thank you so much for being our students. We hope you have enjoyed being here. We cannot try to imagine that anyone has endured your stay here, but you have enjoyed. So I wish to take this opportunity again to wish you all the very best in the exams. And to tell you that you cannot know everything. It is only God who knows everything. So don't try to know everything. You cannot know everything, but you must know some things. And I believe you know some things because you have been in class, all this wrong, and you have been doing your private study. So you're not empty, you're not zero, you know something. So focus on that thing that you know. Don't focus on that which you do not know. If you focus more on that which you do not know, you will only make yourself anxious, you will be fearful, and you start telling yourself, well, hii kitu sijui, hii kiwe sijui, hii kiwe ni ngumu. Hata Kimani venye alikuwa anafunza sikuona kama alifunza vizuri. So sasa unaanza kukua na uoga. And when you go to the exam, you go a fearful person. And you know, as the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so he is. So you go already afraid. But when you tell yourself, hii najua, hii tumesoma, hii nimekuwa kwa class, hii miezi 3 haiwezi kuwa play. I cannot be that kind of a person. I have been in class for 3 months and I have nothing. So you start encouraging yourself, you know. Now again, you go to the exam, a person who believes they know, and for sure, you know and you pass. So develop a positive attitude. And one of the ways of enhancing that attitude is number 1, telling yourself you cannot know it. Actually, Castle Bond requires you to know 50%. Ukijua 50%, hiyo karatasi utakuwa umepita. Number 2, prioritize the topics that are in this paper. There are topics that you understand so well. There are topics you see stars, you understand almost nothing. Like now, Simplex, when I was coming here, you are understanding almost nothing. So those topics zenye kuelewi kitu, wachana nazo. The ones zenye unaelewa, now give them more time. Actually, you can even divide your time. The ones unaelewa, give them 70%. The ones uelewi, you give them what? 30%. And the beauty is this. The ones you don't understand, you are not the only one. Even these others, they also don't understand. And if you have time, you confirm. Chukua kaswali hapo chenye uelewi, uletee jirani. Naona hata yanaona giza. So you are not alone. But the ones you understand, they also understand. So if you focus so much on the ones you don't understand, finally bado hautaelewa na itakuja uanguke sababu hukuelewa. Then ile rahisi yenye ungeelewa itakuja uanguke sababu you did not give it what? Time. So give it time. Give it more time. Ndio uhakikishe wakileta swali kwa any of those topics yenye unaelewa, hiyo utaoga yote. Now if you pass what everyone else is passing, the end result is that you will have passed that paper. But if you fail what everyone else is passing, then the end result is that you have failed the paper. So divide the topics into 2. I'm not saying you totally ignore, lakini upitia hapo kidogo, but focus more on this. The other thing is, zile past papers that you have, they have very many questions which I have not touched together with you. From today onwards, don't touch them.
Kama kuna swali hatujafanya na wewe, achana naye. Wacha kuanza kujiambia na ikikuja. Leave alone that. Now focus on the ones that we have solved. Hiyo ndio unafunga kitabu, unajaribu kujifanyia. Ukikwama unaangalia. And you will now realize unaweza kujifanyia hizo. Sasa ukianza kujifanyia uone nimefanya hiyo yote nimefika hapo. Again unaanza kusikia raha ndani yako. And hiyo raha it boosts confidence. Lakini ukianza tumeachana tu saa hii wewe ukajaribu Simplex kingine, you see stars. And when you see stars unaanza kusema hii kitu ni ngumu. Na for sure itakuwa ngumu. So do only what we have done with you. Don't go for new questions. Actually, this is not the time now to look for friends or to entertain wale marafiki wanakuletea maswali ngumu. Unajua kuna some other fellows sijui wanatoaka maswali wapi, anakuja anakurushia na hii umeiona. Hii umeiona. Leave alone those ones. Wanakuuzia uoga. Don't go checking what the other teachers do them huko nje. Wewe mwalimu wako alikuwa Kimani. Kimani ndiye amekufunza. Ile nimekuambia hiyo imetosha. Wao wameambiwa na mwalimu wao wacha wakae na hiyo. So don't go looking for new materials. Even the so-called leakages, hata ukisikia mtu anakuambia kuna leakage ni uongo. Wewe soma yako, hiyo ndio yako. So the other thing that I would want to say is ensure you don't overwork. You people, you're working. And I know maybe you'll be given a few days to go and study. Too much of anything is what? It's poisonous. Don't read as if it is the end of the world. There is a life after the exam. Actually, ukisoma sana uchoke, especially the day of the exam, it is important to go to bed early. Ulale hata kama ni masaa 8. I'm not a firm believer in what they say that the last minute can save. Me, I believe otherwise. The last minute can also kill. So soma when it is early enough. Siku ya mtihani, by then that's what I used to do when I was a student. Siku ya mtihani I never used to read that morning. No. I would read early enough. Hiyo siku ya mtihani unalala vizuri, unaamuka. When you are not tired, your memory is fresh. Lakini ukilala tu unasoma, utaenda kwa mtihani, the only thing utakuwa unakumbuka hizi niliziona lakini ukumbuki anything. You only remember after they say time is over. That's the time unaanza kukumbuka. So don't overwork. Ensure you are eating well. Don't be hungry because utaka kwenda lunch. Sasa ni kusoma unasoma. Ufanye to handle emergency. Na si ugonjwa ni njaa. You know, you people, you come here. We start seeing these things when you people get this. You want to go to ICU, intensive cramming unit. Unakaa pale, hata kwenda lunch ni shida. Ati una cram. Alafu sasa mtu ana collapse hapa na ni njaa. So kama ni time ya kunywa chai, enda ukunywe chai. Kama ni time ya lunch, enda ukule lunch. Yeah. So those are some of the things that you need to do to ensure that you pass the exam. And above all, ensure you involve your code and you will give you success. So thank you so much. Hope to see you next semester in section 3. Yes, I'm available. There are a few sets of questions that I'm preparing. I think I will record them and upload them. So maybe you will see them outside the link. 1 or 2 questions here and there. You'll see the link. Even this one I'm uploading, you can go and revise. Thank you so much. God bless.